We've got tips and recipes for healthy living. So for fun and inspiration, come and join us in the raw food world.
Welcome everybody. This is Matt Monarch with the Raw Food World TV show. And do I have a video for you today? I'm going to give strategies on a raw food and or whole foods diet. And in the past, I've always recommended why I like a raw food diet so much. Because when I went on a 100% raw food diet, in conjunction with colon hydrotherapy, it's the two together. It's why a lot of spiritual gurus out there, yogis, recommend this combination. Because it automatically, just from doing those two things on a consistent basis, you begin to receive this downpour of universal cosmic spiritual energy. And I went so extreme with it for a year straight, and I did this psyllium bentonite cleanse where I just removed all the mucoid plaque. My third eye opened. And it was just unbelievable. And so today, I was kind of thinking about a whole foods diet. And I think I believe I downloaded information that will allow, just from diet alone, again, there's many pathways to receiving energy, from spiritual energy. But on a whole foods diet, this can happen also. If all other factors were taken out. So let's go into this exciting topic that I'm really excited to share. There are two ways to improve a diet and when you eliminate certain substances or foods from your diet, you go through withdrawals, which is the same thing as detox. And there are two ways to do this. And what that is you can eliminate the quantity of something, and also you can eliminate something completely. So there's quantity and we're going to say density. And let me explain what density is real quick. Now, a person, when you eat, okay, here's the standard American diet. We're going to do a scale. Here's a standard American diet, here's a whole foods diet, and here's a raw food diet. And this is all about density, what I'm saying here. I'm not saying one's better than the other, but a standard American diet has the most density to it. And then a whole foods diet has less density compared to the standard American diet. And then a raw food diet, which is practically 90% water, has less density than a whole foods diet. I hope that makes sense. And what happens is, when there's more density in your diet, through the process of digestion, fermentation is a natural process of digestion that happens whenever you eat. And a byproduct of digestion is carbon dioxide and other, toxic elements. So carbon dioxide is a gas, and it's all not coming out of our mouth or our lungs because people's stomachs are out to here, and then people get bloated bellies. This is the carbon dioxide. So the more dense your diet is, the more fermentation happens through digestion, and the more gas is released into your body. Okay, so this is what density is. The less you eat, and I'm not saying this is toxic, this is less toxic, that's less toxic. That's not really the case. What's happening is less toxicity is created in the human body through digestion, the less dense the food is. So there's no judging here. Even raw food creates a certain amount of what people might want to call toxicity, because it has a certain amount of density, and fermentation occurs during the process of digestion, and elements such as carbon dioxide, which is toxic, is entered in no matter what you eat. It's just less the less you eat. So here we have density and quantity. So if you're on a whole foods diet, let's say you're on a raw food diet. 15 years ago when I was on a raw food diet, I did a video where I showed what I ate before and what I eat now. So what I was eating before was huge salads 3 times a day I would eat, and now I eat very small amounts of food. So I'm eating less quantity. So I improve my diet, and I go through detox and withdrawals until I stabilize out at my new diet. So now let's sum this up and bring the point across that I want to bring through. So now let's bring it home and talk about how someone on a whole foods diet can receive ridiculous amounts of universal cosmic spiritual energy. When anybody improves their diet, this is definitely a possibility because you're kind of cleaning out. Now, I have heard through stories that Buddha was eating one meal a day. And he was a spiritual guru guy and all that fun stuff. And supposedly he had a lot of universal cosmic spiritual energy. And this one meal a day, I'm assuming wasn't 100% raw, if that makes sense. And I'm not recommending eating one whole foods meal a day. And this whole thing is like a spiritual process. It's a long evolution. And it takes time to improve the diet and do it slowly and slowly and slowly. For example, if you're to want to do a raw food diet, you probably want to start on my raw food diet that I did when I began with those huge salads versus eating one small meal a day. You see what I'm saying? So it's an evolution where you actually do improvement as time goes on. So the person on the standard American diet can choose where to improve their diet, and they can just start by eliminating standard American diet foods completely right now. And then they're at the top, we'll say, of the whole foods diet. Like you're eating a lot of whole foods, and the bottom would be eating smaller amounts. So as the time goes on, you can kind of just improve your diet from there and do less whole foods as one step. So basically, let's just bring it all home because I'm going all around the block here. There's two ways to improve your diet and go through with detox and withdrawals. You could less the quantity of your current diet of whatever you're eating, or you could eliminate foods completely, which is you're eliminating density. These are the two things here. So when you go on a 100% raw food diet, you're eliminating all the density there is practically. And when you cleanse the colon and you continue to remove the withdrawals and waste, and your cells become cleaner, they metamorphose, they become smaller and tighter, and this is where the spiritual vibration comes. So what I'm suggesting, if you don't want to do a 100% raw food diet, you can be on a whole foods diet and eat smaller amounts of food. And whole foods, there's junk vegan foods and then there's healthy whole foods. There's all sorts of different aspects to this. So the key is to eat a good goal, not right now, but whatever, would be to just have everything under control. It's almost like a spiritual thing. Like, we're always trying to deal with anger, insecurity, and you got to have, patience and willpower to do so. And it's the same thing. You got to train yourself to eat less. And if you can undereat, pretty much, systematically undereat on a consistent basis, this is a key to longevity, but also that whole entire spiritual aspects. So on a whole foods diet, if you get to the point of eating small amounts of food, because if you're under control and you're eating small amounts of whole foods, because there's density there, and because you're eating small amounts and keeping it under control, there's going to be less detox, but there's going to be a good amount because of the quantity you're eating. What's going to happen is there's going to be less detox to deal with, less toxins, less emotional issues to deal with, but you're going to have lots of spiritual vibration and energy. And if you can, if that can be maintained, and doing colon hydrotherapy with that, then I believe that it could be very immense. And let me give one final example. When a person, so on a raw food diet, the most concentrated food are nuts and seeds. So here we have fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds. Fruits and vegetables are practically all water. Nuts and seeds are more concentrated. It's the most densest food on a raw food diet. So before we said density, here's standard American diet, here's whole foods diet, here's raw foods diet. We're going to just break this chart out of here, and we're just going to take the raw food diet and stretch it out. And we're going to look at the density here. So now we have nuts and seeds. It's the same exact concept. Vegetables, fruit. Okay, so it is, for me, I feel that it is very dangerous to eliminate nuts and seeds from a raw food diet, because the more density you eliminate, the cleaner you become, and the more damaging to the human body is the toxicity of this planet, such as car fumes, factory stuff, and all the toxicity of this planet. And that can actually make it so you won't live as long, possibility from my perspective. So, if I were to eliminate nuts and seeds, I would rather, personally, instead, shrink my raw food diet to 1 meal a day like I've done, and just make sure there's nuts and seeds in there. If I want to take it further, lower the amount of nuts and seeds, but never eliminate it completely. Because once you eliminate something completely, we said density versus quantity, but when you eliminate something completely, such as nuts or standard American diet foods, or all whole, or just going 100% raw, a deeper detox effect happens. And you lock yourself in, you become more sensitive to about all these videos I've been talking about in the past. So, with the whole foods diet, if you're eating small amounts of whole foods, that density is going to hold you back from taking it further and becoming more sensitive, if that makes sense. And now that I think about it, if you were to go from here and eating more raw foods, but not too much, just like the right amount to where it equals this, you're going to go through more detox and withdrawals, and you probably will feel more spiritual vibration, but you got to deal with all the other nonsense. More intense colonics. Like, the detox and withdrawals is insane. And if you're willing to be bound to this type of cleansing, like I am, I'm not saying you have to do it every day, then the spiritual cosmic vibration can be more huge on a raw food diet. But for most people, like, if you can just take it there, the vibration that you would receive would be so immense and amazing, and you would be in such a bliss. You don't need to go further than that. And you won't be bound to crazy cleansing or detox and stuff and issues of sensitivities and stuff like that. I mean, you'll be more sensitive than everybody else, but it's not going to be insanity. And just back to this raw food chart, from my perspective, even if I were to eat 3 nuts a day, or 2 nuts, or 1 nut a day in this small meal, it's still holding me back because there's a little bit left. It's almost like if a drug addict, they could eliminate quantity, and then they're doing less drugs, and they're still going to go through withdrawals, but they're going to still have that craving. It's like still there. And unless they eliminate it completely, they're not going to get rid of it and go through major withdrawals and the detox of that drug. And so I could just eat 1 nut a day, and that's going to hold me back from going. So same with the whole foods diet. If you could just eat, even if you just want to eat small amounts of whole foods, this is the strategy that I wanted to bring forth today. A raw foods diet is amazing if you're willing to deal with it. But a whole foods diet, if your goal is spiritual cosmic vibration, raw foods is not needed. I'm just showing other strategies and options here and trying to bring it all home. Okay, I hope that makes sense. That was kind of advanced stuff. I have some notes here. I just did it all. Exciting stuff, and this is Matt Monarch. And we'll see you next time at the Raw Food World TV show.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again at the Raw Food World.